Hi, my name is Bruno Lalonde. I'm from Ubisoft Montreal, and I'm the lead technical director of Rainbow Six Extraction.
Hi, I'm Linda Nguyen, scriptwriter on Rainbow Six Extraction.
It's been more than 3 years since Rainbow Six Siege players got to experience the Outbreak event that would ultimately spin off into Extraction. So, in what ways has the game evolved from that core concept since it debuted?
There was a limited time event called the Outbreak event, and I believe this was in 2018. And it was a limited time event, and we were fascinated by how the community responded to an event like that. So, a squad, and you're there fighting this alien threat, and we thought, why don't we make this into a game? Let's put in more maps, let's have more operators, let's have more enemy types, and let's go from there, have these objectives, make it a PvE, and this is what we have now, something super cool and different and exciting for people to experience.
And for the sake of clarification, just looking at these enemy types, like how would we describe them? They're definitely not undead, but they're more aliens, yes?
It is, we call it the parasite. The collective name for it is the parasite. But with individually, every alien type that is mobile, that can move around and can attack you, we call them Archæans. And yeah, and there are also in Maelstrom. Well, I wouldn't say Maelstrom Protocol. There is an objective that allows you to travel to this unknown area, and there are these specific enemy types that we call it proteans, and they're pretty badass. They're scary, and they can really kick some butt.
So Siege has a list of operators that just keeps on growing, but you've kept the extraction list to just 18 of them. So will the list of playable characters stay at 18, and why start at this specific number?
I can take this one. First, we have to take a choice. We look at the Rainbow Six roster, and we pick up the 18 that fit the most, and our universe in terms of narrative, from a gameplay point of view, and also as for a diversity. We want to please many game style from different player, and for that, we pick up those specific 18 operator. And yes, you can expect more operator during our free live phase.
Can you explain how Extraction's React progression system works?
Yes, of course. So we have two progression system. I will say that operator will level up to 10. And every level operator will get a new weapon, boost get some buff, get some upgrade ability. And on the other progression system, we have what we call the React progression, where player will progress by XP of the operator, by doing quests, and from that, they'll be able to unlock the new region, like you play San Francisco, Alaska, True and Consequence. Also unlock new React tech and new lore to the game.
That's interesting. How does the lore progress? How much of the story do you unlock as you go?
So it's really up to you. How far are you gonna go to get to this story? So there's a really deep and rich story, and the further you go, the more you unlock. So you have codex entries and you have region studies. So the more you go, the more XP you collect, the more you're gonna find out about the world of extraction, about all these enemy types, and there's gonna be more in the free post-launch program.
Now, I've noticed that as I jump back into some of the maps, I'll get different objectives. So, how many different map objectives will players encounter over the course of the game? And are basically all of them randomized as you go into a level?
And what you described, it's what we call an incursion. We have a procedural system that will generate you incursion every time a group of players jump on a map. So it will be mission objective, nature, placement. You probably notice if you play twice in the same map that even the entry point of the map was not the same. And so this procedural system also generate um, the enemy composition, where are the gameplay objective, or different system in the game. So really, the incursion system have been built to offer a fresh experience every time you jump into an incursion.
And Linda made mention of it, like for about a second there, but I want to go more into it a little more. Can you explain Maelstrom Protocol? What exactly is it, and what is it about it that makes it Extraction's toughest setting?
Yeah.
Right. So the enemy keeps evolving, and there is a protocol for what happens when the enemy just when you're allowed to explore and go on for as far as you can. And so you're allowed to explore up to 9 submaps and to complete as many as you can, but it's also a huge exercise for these operators. Can they undertake this challenge, and how far are they willing to go?
Now, when Rainbow Six Siege first released, it was a state-of-the-art gaming engine. It used a level of physics that was not seen at the time. How has this engine evolved since that game's release, and in what ways has that growth aided the development of Extraction?
Yeah, so the destruction system have involved in two ways. But first, you probably noticed that our map are 3 times bigger than Siege. So that's mean we need to put energy, and tech, on destruction. And we have way more destruction, destructible props and wall that are destructible than Siege. So, and also you probably noticed the sprawl, the black goo-like tissue that is that can spawn around the map. This system is also fully interactable. So yes, the parasite will try to cover the map. At the same time, you as a player, you can destroy that. So it's really like the two core elements, of destruction that we lever up on extraction.
What are the challenges in the in designing the difficulty progression for each stage? Because I've noticed that as I would complete one objective, like the second one and then the third one would actually be noticeably harder than the previous one. So how were you able to implement that, and what were the challenges involved?
Um, our game is all about risk reward, and as a tactical shooter, the tension in the game was like something that we will always want to keep. Um, and so in terms of balancing, having to increase the difficulty, also increase the reward, but at the same time, that player will have spent resource, on the previous part of the extraction. So it was all about being able to keep the tension, um, by resource we leave on the map for the player, and also the challenge we put in face of the player. So it's just like finding the right balance.
What do you have in mind for endgame content?
Maelstrom Protocol, um, during the demo, if you reach San Francisco, it was like difficulty 3 up to 4. And the Maelstrom Protocol, we go further than this level of difficulty. So at first, it started at 3, and then on every sub-map, the level of difficulty increase. And also, we are removing resource from the map. So less and less healing medic pack, less ammo, react tech, etc. So if you're looking like to really challenge yourself on a top difficulty, Maelstrom Protocol is the place to challenge your skill.
And lastly, for me, you mentioned that you're looking to add operators as Extraction goes on, but Siege's roster is also continuing to expand on a yearly basis. So, can we expect to see some of those newer operators make their way to Extraction as well?
Yeah, I will say only the first operator have been announced. Zofia will be our first DLC operator, and for the next, I will let's wait the game ship, and we'll be able to talk a bit more about what new stuff we bring to the game post launch.
And how will their stories vary between Siege and Extraction? Will their lores change at all between games?
So this is an entirely different world. We do have operators from Siege join in on this in this new environment, and they're in brand new situations. But it's still its own thing. They're living, breathing characters, but in different scenario, different situation. And players and the community, they're gonna find out little tidbits of information about these operators, these characters that may be different, and we'll see how the community reacts to certain pieces of information and news about these operators in this new environment.
So, would you go as far as to call it a Rainbow Six multiverse?
I will not say that.
Bruno, Linda, thank you so much. And when can we expect to see the game?
January 20th, grab two buddies, have fun, and let's see how far you can go.